What's up, everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews.
BrickWall.
I'm Dave. This is Sam, and tonight, you see we are laughing. We're in a laughing mood for many reasons, but mostly because we just watched this really great documentary on Prime Video called Phat Tuesdays. It's pretty much the story of how Guy Torry, if you don't know who that is, you'll know by the end of, a little bit by the end of this review, and definitely a lot by the end of the documentary.
Really, because I was actually surprised at how little I knew of him and just his family relationships and stuff. So yeah.
So it tells the story of how Guy Torry launched an all-black comedy nightclub at the Comedy Store to make sure their voices were heard. Before we get into that, we do want to say this is part of our Black History Month. I guess we say special that we're doing here. I'm gonna put the full list of things we're gonna be reviewing for this month, but they're gonna be all Black content, movies, shows, whatever we find on different streaming platforms. Like we said, this particular documentary is available on Prime Video. Next week we'll be doing something from HBO Max. At the end of the month we'll be doing something from Disney Plus, and in between we'll do the other streaming services that we find fit.
But wherever we find stuff on, not find fit.
Oh yeah, well everyone got their Black content up now, so
I mean wherever we find decent stuff on.
So so before I go any further and finally jump into this review, one last thing: subscribe to the channel, hit that like button down below if you enjoy our content. Check out our previous content. Show us some love. All right, so Phat Tuesdays. Like I said, this is it's a docu-series, 3 episodes long, on Prime for like the 80th time. And it's about how how Guy Torry, he launched his comedy night at the Comedy Store, like we said, pretty much the synopsis I just said. And what they called it was Phat Tuesdays.
So they get into details about how he came into, generating the name and how he even came into jumping into the business portion of it. So we get to learn, some of his backstory, and then especially how he encounters and how the club itself, or that particular night, I'll say, how that particular night basically changed history, and it did. We see different comedians that we may have forgotten, and we're like, oh yeah, or some that may have passed and stuff. So this docu-series, it really goes and it brings out like older comedians that, like I said, we may have forgotten about, or whatever the case may be. Some that we remember, but they're older now, such as Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, and some, just to mention a few, male,
Right.
who may be remembered at this time. Like I would say, go as far as Cedric the Entertainer, but that's might be a hit and miss for this the newer generation. But anyway, this docu-series, it really goes into it, and it gives homage to those who paved the path before them, as any realm of just anything would do. Like you would give homage to those who paved the way, and so this is Black History Month, and we wanted to focus on just different areas of Black history. It's not always the enslaved portion of Black history. Black people have done a lot of things.
Hashtag Black excellence.
And are still doing a lot of things. So we just want to highlight and just pay homage to the progress of Black people, in spite of.
Right. And not only paying homage to, one thing that throughout this documentary that you'll see, especially at the ending, and that I do enjoy it as the major backbone of this, is giving people their flowers while they're still here. For those of you who don't know the phrase giving people their flowers while they're here, that means acknowledging them, giving them praise, giving them their recognition of the great things that they've done while they're still here on this earth. As opposed to after they leave, we say, oh, they were such a great person with this, and they were so good at that. I wish I would have got to tell them. Giving them their flowers while they're here consists of telling them while they're here. And it does a great job between Guy Torry and his brother, even a lot of other modern day comedians like DC Young Fly, Tiffany Haddish, King Bach, that's Andrew Bachelor, for those of you who don't know. Even all of the YouTubers, TikTokers who are out there doing comedy now, y'all are giving y'all flowers in this documentary. So if you're a modern day YouTuber, TikToker, definitely check this out. You might recognize yourself. You might hear some words of encouragement. And that's one thing I really liked about this, like as it flowed. Like Sam said, it was interesting hearing the history of how not just Fat Tuesdays, but how Black comedy kind of surfaced throughout like the 50s and 60s.
It just manifested into something,
Yeah, and just to see some of the pioneers, they don't show all the pioneers, obviously, but they show a lot of the pioneers.
Some people didn't make it, obviously, but
Right. But some of the pioneers they show, I mean, it's I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He did Baby's Kids, and I'm really upset that I forgot his name right now. I'm very upset.
Well, anyway, he was hilarious. He died at the age of 36, and that really shocked me because I thought he was older. I'm not gonna lie. And he also played in House Party. He was Kid's father. So like I really thought that he was older. And just watching some of his comedic
Robin Harris was the name.
He just watching some of the portions that they had on there, like he was hilarious. Like he was hilarious, but he was older. Like you could tell, like even he looked older, but even in his presence and in his speech and in his just overall being, you could just tell that he was probably like an 80-year-old in a 36-year-old body.
Yeah. It was I didn't, like I said, I enjoyed that aspect of it. Of course, with documentaries, one of the best things about them to me is sometimes hearing different people talk about some of these different eras and some of these things that happened while something historic was being done. It's really, there are some really great stories about how some of these comedians rose up and like, it's fun. It's really just a fun to watch. I don't know how to describe
I think that some of the interesting ones for me were like Chris Tucker. Because Chris Tucker is extremely funny to me. So like I said, with his introduction to me was in movies.
Right.
So I never seen him as a stand-up comedian. So this docu-series, he gives you the opportunity to see, if you were introduced to them a certain way. Like I said, I was introduced through movies. So, like I said, for this younger generation, like, their introduction could have been through maybe, like we could say, Steve Harvey being a damn judge. They don't know he was ever a comedian, but watching this, you're like, what? A comedian?
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, so this docu-series, it really educates you. It's not boring.
No,
like,
not
it is nowhere near boring. You're going to be like...
thoroughly entertained.
Yeah. You're gonna think about stuff, like you're gonna just like
you're gonna wish you were a part of a certain time period.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was cap when I seen people saying that, but I was like, dang, I would have liked to have been around or watched more stand-up comedy when I was younger, because Def Jam comedy, like that was like what, 90s, early 2000s. I wish I would have known more about that and watched it, because I love stand-up comedy now, but just knowing how funny that was, and not just how funny it was, but how important that was to our culture now. And you really get to see
now, but then as well, because it, like that stuff was always important. Like at the end of the day, like I said, Black people have always tried to find their path. Like and that's what it's always been. And Black people have found their path.
Right.
They have through many streams, and our focus today is on comedy and entertainment, because not only are they comedians, they are entertainers, as some of them are actors, and some of them are in different areas. So all of these comedians that have been introduced through the club, they have made a major impact in the course of history. They've really made a major impact.
Yeah. So some of y'all might be wondering, well, what exactly is Phat Tuesdays? Like, why was it such a highly regarded thing? What was the event? Like, why is it considered so historic now, the way we're talking about it? So Phat Tuesdays, it was created at the Comedy Shop. Of course, by dang it, I'm like really bad with names today. I'm so sorry, y'all. Ooh, I'm bad with names today.
So it was created at the Comedy Club. Like as mentioned earlier, they had to come up with a name. And so in doing this, Guy, he he was pretty much the hype man, whatever. He pretty much ran the show. And like as mentioned, different people come up, put on their little act, and they knew that this would be a make or break. And of course, celebrities went there, and it was just the most popular night. And of course, it was more of the African American population. So, it generated a lot of income. And to find out that that one night alone was the night that helped, that the comedy, whatever it was, just stand together, just that one night alone. Like I said, to me, that shows a lot. That shows a lot. Like just black people coming together. You made just one night of y'all getting together. Just one night of us getting together. It's like, and like if we could just sometimes just take that. But I don't want to get into that. But yeah, it just really shows a lot. Like like I said, if you really want to do some critical thinking into this, but I'm not here for that tonight. So yeah, I would definitely watch this. I was flipping through my phone or whatever, and for this particular docu-series, and it had a 6 out of 10.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's
I think.
I was gonna say it does definitely deserve to be higher.
Yeah, like
especially since like
and that kind of like makes me wonder like who is reviewing this stuff. Like who is reviewing this stuff?
No, from what I see though, the reaction like online on social media and everything, follows on Twitter, it's really positive. Like a lot of people are enjoying it. A lot of people are enjoying just learning that the origins of Phat Tuesday wasn't just one guy named Guy who was like, yeah, it'll be dope. Like we all need a space where we can all tell jokes for us, to us, and just give us a chance to branch out farther than we've ever had before. But it's rooted in the fact that they say it in docu-series that comedy is an inherently segregated field of work, and they go through like how hard it was and how certain black comedians like they had to tell jokes kind of catered more towards white people than opposed to black people and everything. So it was real interesting to see that, and I see a lot of people, like I said, their reaction to that, they're really into learning about that and knowing things like that. So yeah, but like Sam said, it's definitely a really great documentary, very eye-opening and very funny too.
That too, like with this particular docu-series, as you were mentioning, just some of the things that you mentioned just now, of course it puts you, of course, in the mindset of, like they mentioned the Rodney King stuff like that. So these are people who have lived through what we lived through with the term enslavement. So just to see that they and with comedy before, and they show it like they're not like comedy before, you're not afraid to say the shit that you need to say. Like right. Slavery was wrong. Like that shit was wrong. Like they're not afraid to say the shit that you need to say. Like, and that's how the comedians were before. So they really show that, and it, like I enjoy it because like it needs to be light. Like it's really heavy, and I think that this docuseries did a good job of not overwhelming. Like you knew what it was. Like we know what it is. Like right. That's what I really liked about this. It's like what it is. It's like what it is, but we did it. Like we got through that shit. Like we will always get through that shit. Like that's what this docuseries is really saying. Like we got to stand together. And sometimes people gonna come and go. That's what that comedy was. It's a definition of people gonna come and go, but you still gonna get through that shit. That's life. So
yeah.
Like I think
a real big part of this docu-series as well was the relationship. I mentioned earlier, like there's a backbone to this, and it's like giving people their flowers while they're still here. The relationship between Guy Torry and his brother Joe Torry, right? Am I right? I should be right. So the relationship between them, they were brothers, and Guy was pretty much put on by his older brother. So, like, and Guy worked to kind of get where he was at. Wrote for Martin, was always working on his jokes. Just always just trying to, they say in the documentary, you always want to surpass your sibling, your older sibling. They set the path and you surpass that path. So then what happens
Yeah,
is
everybody up here but him.
so
Put
then
it
of course
down.
what happens is their siblings, they have a lot of sibling rivalry, and a lot of people are like, yo, you wouldn't even be able to tell that they were brothers, just the way that they treat each other. Like there's, they talk about the falling out they had.
It's funny. It is funny though.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny hearing some of the things that they would say about each other because, of course, they make light of it. But just knowing that they had that falling out and that things were rough between them, but then seeing them at the end together, because I was hoping that we would be able to see them together in this documentary, and doggone it, they did it. And I'm very happy that they did. Allowed them to, and just let them exchange those words to each other. I love you, man, and I always got your back. Giving each other their flowers while they're still alive and able to tell each other that. It was emotional for me. I really like that because I like seeing that reconciliation between them. They don't get real deep into the details of a lot of things that happen, and it's none of our business, honestly. But
I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
because they didn't break silence on shit, and I really like.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they gave enough for us to understand,
classy,
hey, something went on between us. We didn't get along. And then they got the opportunity. They sat together and said, but I still love you at the end of the day. You're still my brother, So that was really dope. And then at the end, I mentioned this earlier, there were some comedians in here, and the list of comedians in this documentary are amazing. Even Bob Saget made one last appearance on screen, and he was one of the white comedians or non-black comedians that went to no, they say they had different race people too. So but yeah, that went to Phat Tuesdays and performed in front of this all-black audience and completely killed it. And they showed some of his set, and I'm like, wow, that's the dad from Full House. Like it was funny. It was really funny. But yeah, so they have all these different comedians that do appear in the documentary, great stuff. But some of them, their name never got on the wall. Like having your name on the outside of the comedy shop, which is where Phat Tuesdays was held, it's like a big honor. It takes so much to get up there, and it's such a great thing to have your name there. A lot of them didn't get on there, so at the end they finally gave not finally, but they were able to give a lot of the comedians who didn't have their names on there the chance to have their names on there. So that their names
tell a story. I wouldn't have said that.
Oh well, I mean, I'm just saying it was something.
I'm just saying, Mr. Damn Spoiler. That's what you just.
I don't think it's a spoiler. I mean,
I think that is a spoiler.
I don't know. It's a documentary. I'm thinking about it differently.
Because you were like, oh my gosh, they got a chance. Like, you don't know that. Like, that's a great surprise at the end.
All right. Well, look, I'm not going to say some of the names.
It's over now. Well, it's too late. Too late. It's over.
But no, it was. I mean, it's a documentary. It's all stuff that you can see on Instagram. So they spoil it on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
They they talk about how Phat Tuesdays inspired a lot of stuff.
I'm just shocked.
A lot of it's a documentary, like I said. Like I'm pretty sure if I follow any of the comedians whose names ended up on the wall, I'd have probably known that they got on the wall like 2 months ago and been like, what is this? Like, oh, he's taking a nice picture and got context. Sure. So anyway, yeah, like I said, this is definitely worth a watch though. Definitely worth a watch. My thoughts going into this, like I saw like a little trailer on it before I'm watching another Amazon show that I'm gearing up to try to get some feedback out there. So I'm working on that. But I seen a commercial from it. And it's funny because it slipped my mind that it was February. And I was like, oh, snap, it's February. Oh, snap, it's Black History Month. Oh, snap, that's the perfect thing to start off with. So I was like, all right. I didn't think it was going to be a docu-series. I thought it was going to be a movie. But other than that, I was ready to come in and see something great and kind of learn something. So those are my thoughts going in. So, I mean, I didn't have like any critical thoughts or, high expectations or anything. I was just ready to, get enlightened about something that I don't know about with my culture. What about you?
Well, I was just like, let's watch this and let's see what this is about. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't mind watching and learning about, the history of comedy. I don't mind learning about like Richard Pryor, I don't know all the older comedian names. I really don't. But just, like I wish I did. Like they mention them in the docu-series, but just pay homage to them as well. Because, it was tough for them. Like it wasn't easy. It was tough. Mm-hmm. So just the fact that they kept pushing through, Like,
yeah, and they also kind of go over like it's not easy to be a comedian. Like everybody says, "Oh, I can be a comedian." Like one thing I really love about comedians,
you talking about it's not easy. How you know?
I said that's what they said. That's what they said, that it's not easy to be a comedian.
It ain't easy being nothing. Shit.
But because a lot of people think like comedian, like, oh, I'm funny, I can go up there and tell jokes. Like, I love when I hear comedians say this, and it really puts a lot of things in perspective. They're like, no, you can't. You come up here and try that shit if you want to, boy, you ain't gonna make it. Like they really like you got to work. It's not just like you can go up there and be funny for 30 minutes. Steve Harvey says like, but that ain't shit. You gotta hold it down for over an hour and keep people engaged and keep people laughing, keep the laughs coming. Like that's where you prove yourself. So a lot of things like that are like,
you gotta be able to do a lot.
Yeah, and it's a lot of good messages about perseverance in here. If you want to do deep dives analysis like that, but yeah, it's a lot of it's very encouraging, very empowering. So
like, it really is.
Like, I mean, if you can't tell by now, we both are very in love with this documentary. Very enjoyed it very much and highly recommend it. What is your rating?
I'm going to give it a 4.8. I really love this one. I really love it.
I'm gonna give it the rare day 5. Yeah, like, now it's got the 5 in a long time.
Check it out on Prime. Like you would really, really enjoy this. Like you would really enjoy this. Like this is stuff I never knew, and I'm happy I had the opportunity to even learn about it. So learn your history. Learn it. Just gather as much information as you can. Sit your kids. So you can sit your kids down in front of this. I mean, there are some parts, but just
You know how black comedy is, guys. You know how we be.
But I'm just saying, like, and if you don't want to sit them down, just paraphrase it for them. Paraphrase it.
Right.
Let them watch the beginning of something. I don't know.
So that's all that Google ain't nobody talking to you. So yeah, that's all we have to say about this documentary. Definitely check it out. Like we said, for like the 8,000th time, it's available on Prime Video. It's called Phat Tuesdays, PHAT, like baby fat. We used to rock that baby fat. I didn't.
Pretty hot and tempting.
I was a name brand.
Pretty hot and tempting. But for those of us that know that one.
So until next time, though, you guys take care. BrickWall Anime is Tuesday. And we'll be back next Sunday with our next Black History Month review. It will be Valentine's Day related because I just think this movie's dope. I've never seen it, but stay tuned to find out what that is. Until then, peace.
Peace out. Where my fingers at?